Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to go over an article from Deadline talking about the Munsters remake, reboot that Rob Zombie's doing. It's something I know I'm a little late to the party on doing because, like the article here is from the 19th, and this is something that's been going on for a little while, but I hadn't really heard anything on it, and I just happened to bump across it, and figured maybe something interesting to look at. And I understand that when it comes to monsters, a lot of people probably don't know don't know anything about the show or anything. It was one that I enjoyed when I was younger, and sometimes a little difficult to find episodes, but occasionally can. Thankfully, some people put some episodes up on YouTube. That's nice to see. But I guess we can go over this. We have where supposedly this is the third update from Rob Zombie, where he was sharing some images on the set with the three castings that he's got so far. You got Jeff Daniel Phillips as Herman Munster. You got Rob Zombie's wife, Sherry Moon Zombie, and then you got as Lily Munster, and then you got Dan Roebuck as Grandpa Munster, which when we get to the picture, it's not that bad. I mean, of course, Rob Zombie shared this on Instagram, shared all the photos and everything on it. And as he talks about it, Zombie first announced the untitled Munsters pick as his next project back in July, calling it the project he's been chasing for 20 years. In the months since, he's routinely teased the project with social media posts depicting set blueprints, the clay sculpture, which would serve as the basis for Herman's forehead, prosthetic, and more. And, you know, I'm going to be straightforward on this. Generally speaking, Rob Zombie movies are kind of hit and miss with me. They're just a taste type thing, and then you have I'm not really one for his music, but I don't listen to much music anyways. I'm not saying he hadn't made good things, because I've heard a few things his that were good. It's just I don't really listen to much music. But as far as setting up, as far as a teaser photo, which this is the most recent one he had, you know, it doesn't look that bad. I mean, I'm in some ways I kind of hope he sticks with the black and white style of it. Now, looking up the stuff for doing this video and everything, I looked up some on Rob Zombie, and he's actually a rather large fan of the Munsters, from what I can tell. I mean, this is a person, he even owns a Dragula, which is a dragster that was made for the series, and he owns his own of that. I mean, this is a person who's shown. I found pictures where he had talked to some of the surviving cast members. Normally, I am very skeptical of remakes. I don't like remakes. I don't like reboots, anything like that. Personally, I just like for people to make something new. I'm tired of them taking everything that was good before, just because they think they can milk a few extra pennies out of it. They'll remake it and completely ruin it. And I'm cautious on this, but this isn't another how to put it? This isn't another Kevin Smith situation like with Masters of the Universe. In the years before Masters of the Universe Revelations came out, before he started working on that, he made comments that he had never watched He-Man. He didn't care for it. Then, about the time he got the contract to make the series for Netflix, of course he changed his tune. He said he loved the series. And unfortunately, if you watch what he did to the series, you'll understand why. It's rather terrible. I mean, it's not the He-Man show. It's the Tila show. But that's not here or there, and has nothing to do with this. But as for some of the set photos, I mean, the house looks great. I mean, you wouldn't. They did great detail on that. Of course, he released this because Halloween was approaching, so he figured that'd be a nice release, and I'm glad he did. The Herman Munster, Jeff Daniel Phillips, he doesn't look bad from this distance. I don't know how it'd be up close, but he doesn't look bad for it. Willie Munster, well, I with the change of times, you're going to have a change of hairstyle, so I'm sure that's fine. Grandpa Munster, I kind of like that one. I mean, they really are going with a lot of the aesthetics of the original, and I'm glad of that. You can kind of tell with the amount of detail that he's had done into these things that this is a project that he actually cares about. This is a property that is more than just a quick cash grab off of nostalgia. Because, quite frankly, the Munsters wasn't really that big of a hit when it came out. It wasn't until late 80s, early 90s, whenever you had it on syndication on different networks. That's how I ended up watching it. It took off. People started to really like it. So I'm skeptical, but I'm hopeful. Of course, he had the second update from him was back in July, on July 21st, where Rob Zombie took to Instagram once again with some more previews. It was film adaptation, and in this one, he's showing the clay model for the prosthetics for Herman Munster. And when we get to some pictures later, it's done really well on that. They are trying to. You can tell he's really trying to keep to the original on that. I mean, you had the first up, but the very first up that he had was from. Oh, this was from Tuesday. Wow. He had where he was showing off the blueprints for it, the Mockingbird Lane set, Monster House, and whenever he's talking about it and everything, you can tell the blueprints are done. Time to start the construction. You're ready for the most perfect Monsters house since 1964. I want this thing exact. The fact that he's willing to go through with that he's willing to go into such detail. He wants to. I mean, there's other replicas around there of the house that look great, but from what I've seen on other things, he doesn't just want the outside to look right. He wants the furniture. He wants the staircases. He wants everything exactly right. And that's good. I like the attention to detail. But you had previously, on June 7th, Rob Zombie was pulling up to 1313 Mockingbird Lane. The rocker-turned filmmaker said on social media today that he will tackle the Munsters as his next film project. The adaptation of the 1960s creep show comedy will be for Universal 1440 Entertainment. NBCU confirmed, which likely means it will stream on Peacock. You know, I don't really mind that. Yeah? I really don't. And of course, right here, they're bringing up some of his other projects, like where he directed 2 Halloween reboot films. Kind of iffy on those. He had the 2000s, and most recently wrote and helmed 3 From Hell and 31. He launched his feature filmmaking career with House of 1,000 Corpses in 2003, and followed that up with The Devil's Rejects 2 years later. He wrote the wrote and directed both, but didn't say whether he plans to write the Munsters as well. And I don't know if he will, because I'm wanting them to keep the humor. I'm wanting them to. There was a charm. I want him to keep the 60s sitcom charm, the humor of it, and everything. You know, and I really wish I could include in this video some clips from the show. I don't know. One, I don't know how to edit those in here. Two, I don't want to get struck for doing it. I really wish I could show them, but the Munsters originally aired from 64 to 66 on CBS, the same time frame that the equally ooky Addams Family ran on ABC. Now, I have to say, the Addams Family is good, but I was always, because I watched that as well, I've always more preferred the Munsters. And I just hope that he does really well with it. There are a lot of people that, if you go in the comments on here, that are really going after it, and I don't know. I don't think that's fair yet. I mean, we're not talking a J.J. Abrams film. We're not talking something Disney's doing. We're talking that a person who, if you look at his other stuff, clearly is a fan of the show, who clearly has dedicated a lot of time to the show, is making a film on it and actually cares about it, instead of the I hate to put it this way, but it's kind of a cookie cutter method of Disney, like with Star Wars or Marvel. It's all, you can see where it's going. I figured to end this video, we'll go with what the originals look like. I mean, and we can go back and compare some of the photos. Of course, it talks about a family friend. A family of friendly monsters have misadventures, never quite understanding why people react so strangely to them. And that was part of the humor of it too. And these are all based around universal monsters instead of more modern stuff. I mean, this is not something you would exactly see Michael Myers or Freddy Krueger or Jason doing. This is just a lighthearted way to do things. I mean, let's see if I can get all right. We got the main three here. Now, she does have her hair down there, so this is going to be a good example. If I can swap back over real quick. And, if you had to choose between the two, I think they did pretty well with the casting on that, just for the aesthetics. I do hope that this turns out. I really want it to. I mean, if you get a chance to look up any of it, please do. Please look around YouTube, look around. I don't know if maybe they'll have a few suggestions of where you can watch it on while we're looking around on here. But look at some of the cast you got. You got Fred Gwynne. He was in several things, but I guess something most recent anybody to remember him for is he was the judge in My Cousin Vinny. Which there's enough memes for My Cousin Vinny floating around that I'm sure somebody's looked up that. But along with the regular cast, Al Lewis, Butch Patrick, he's still alive and he's still out there doing things. Unfortunately, let's see, Al Lewis, Fred Gwynne, Yvonne Carlo, and Beverly Owen. Unfortunately, all of them, they have passed, but Butch Patrick and Pat Priest, the original Marilyn Munster, those two are still alive. But you had some other really funny comedians at the time pop up, and like Harvey Korman. You had all sorts of people that just popped up on here that some of you might know, most of you probably don't. I wish you did, because it's worth taking the time to look into them. It's sort of like they actually give us kind of a decent synopsis here. You got the Munsters are a weird but honest family. Herman, the father, is Frankenstein's monster. Lily, his wife, and Grandpa, her father, are vampires. Eddie, their little son, is a werewolf. Marilyn, their niece, is the only normal one. That is the ugly duck of the family. And if you really want to know something, they had a kind of a funny kick where you had Herman accidentally get turned normal. Let's see if I can get to click here. Where he got turned into looking, where they just had the actor go around without his makeup, and which means you probably recognize the judge a lot better with that. But anyways, this is just something that I bumped into. I don't know if it would interest people like it did me. I do hope this works out. With all the stuff that's thrown out there now, I hate to say it, it's just nothing but substandard stuff that I really have no interest in. I try, but it's hard. I'd like to see something like this. I'd like to have. I want this to be campy. I want it to be funny. I know this. I know Rob Zombie's directing it, but I have faith that he isn't going to go down the route of nothing but extreme gore and stuff like that. I think he's going to try to keep true to it from the amount of detail he's trying to go in. I think that he deserves a chance on this. I mean, he's a skilled director, even if I'm not one for his stuff. For all this stuff, he is a skilled director, and I'm willing to give it a shot. Either way, let me know down below what you think on this. I hope that this turns out well myself, but like I said, just let me know down below in the comments what you think of this. And if you did enjoy this video in some way, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. It really would help. I'm trying to figure out what direction I should go with this channel. But I do appreciate your time. I thank you very much for listening. I hope you have a pleasant evening, day, or whatever it is for you, and I will talk to you in the next video.